on the Ramblecast. Just can't wait to get on the Ramblecast. The life I love is the podcasting with my friends, and I can't wait to get on the Ramblecast. On the Ramblecast, we're talking to people that I've never met, hearing jokes that I love to hear again, and I can't wait to get on the Ramblecast.
Best one yet.
That was a really good one.
Yeah, I had the robo-boat effect going on in my ear again, so that was a tough one to do.
It's like you put some effort into it this week, which was nice.
Well, I had the I don't know if you're joking or not, but yeah, I almost delayed it, and then I actually had the time to actually work on a second verse. So I was like, okay, I can go ahead and do it. So,
no, it was actually I really liked it. Sherry said she's a long day. She's time for some fun. She came to the wrong place, but it's okay.
Oh, so Sherry, just a big thank you to Sherry. She reached out to me and sent me a couple of links that she wanted me to see because I'm not on Facebook. And I will tell you, Sherry, I laughed my ass off, and as did everybody at work for a good solid hour. So thank you so much.
I guess we all don't need to laugh. That's okay.
Nope.
It's funny like how I told Chris a few weeks back, like I was going to follow in Chris and Matt's footsteps and get off Facebook as well for a while, and then after like a day, I realized that the majority of my iPhone games use Facebook as a login, so I couldn't play them. So I was like, dark. So I had to access it again.
That sucks, man.
The little things, right?
Yeah, it is tough. It is tough. The things I gave up MySpace, so I know the pain. Apple humor, like I wouldn't get Apple humor.
Nope, you wouldn't get it at all.
So
can I just say something? I hate when people say that. You wouldn't get that at all.
You would
not even give me a chance.
Wow.
You would not appreciate it.
No, you know what? No, I don't even want to know now.
Is it ageism, Chris? Is that what it is?
No, put it this way, Jack. Let's say there's a T-shirt company that decided to make shirts all about the idiosyncrasies of running an ice skating rink.
Another big word.
Yeah, you'd love it. You thought it'd be funny, but Nick, Matt, and myself be like, this is fucking stupid. So
it's pretty much the same, but everything's the same. Every business, it's all the same crap. Especially if you have the public. So, but you know what? I don't want to know. I don't care. I've already lost interest in it.
Great.
I'm gonna go buy this death house next to Matt.
It's not for sale.
I thought it was for sale.
It should be torn down.
No, there's somebody that lives in there now.
I thought it was up for sale because I thought that's what I read when I was doing some research. Now, I did find out that if you messed the show
if it
last
is
week,
for sale, then my neighbor hasn't posted anything out in his yard that it's for sale.
Yeah.
He's showing no signs of moving.
I don't know if you can see it, but right there is the slab where the dead people are at, I believe. Right there.
Man.
Creepy as fuck.
Yeah. It's actually, if you look at the whole house, they really did a good job fixing it. It's old, but it's got some style to it. It's
historic, and when all of this stuff was going on, it did not look like this at all. So in the last podcast, if you missed the ghost story of the motorboating ghost, go back, listen to that podcast, get caught up to speed, because there's a lot of ins and outs, ups and downs. It's like the dude. Currently, though, there's people that live there. They bought it from the people that renovated it and took it up to speed to where it's at now.
Yeah, they did a night because it's got a nice, cool staircase and all that stuff. But I did find out.
Wait, you got pictures of the interior of the house, Jack? How much stalking are you doing here?
You just get the address, and it said it was up for sale. So
you can see the inside of my house.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it's not that difficult. It's
it
probably
may have
something
been,
you would understand, Nick.
Yeah,
maybe it's an older Zillow list, because I can't imagine that because right now, currently, Jack, where if you move out of the way there, again, so we could look at that slab there. No, yeah, okay. So the slab right there, there's actually a building that sits on that now. So,
is it really trying to keep a small church? Is it a small church like with a lot
No, it's just like a little like kind of
It
like
should be.
shed kind of thing. Like it's
So
not
they-
a it's
so
it's
they put a
it's
shed up, but they don't know there's dead people there, right?
Yeah.
No, not the
Oh.
people that live there now. So
I can't believe I'm thinking about sending him a letter.
again, like it was those headstones were cut off when the people that bought it that like ripped out all of the walls. So at one point in time, this house I think had like 4 units, and basically a slumlord owned it forever.
And
then,
one is on this side.
no, it what
In that your house over to the right.
on
Don't,
the,
don't be disclosing.
Oh, you're
where
over,
Matt
you're
lives.
over here.
no, the brown fence is mine. I built.
Yeah,
the fence,
that's
thank
why
you.
I'm pointing to it right there.
Oh.
Right.
Oh, I didn't know. I couldn't see you pointing. Are you pointing with your hands or another?
Little-
Since it's technically above the dead people, would it technically be a crypt then?
next to the bird
That's
feeder.
true.
True.
It would be a crypt.
It's a crypt. Yeah.
So
Dead people.
Or Randy in the chat says a mausoleum.
Mausoleum.
so just so that we buy this house. It's next to it. It's just a shithole. Like there's 4 units in there. People coming and going. At one point, these people bounced in and bounced out, and the cops were looking for it. And it was a really sad kind of thing because
Well,
they had a little daughter with them, and it's like he's running from the cops because of drugs, basically, and meth, or what have you. So
wife's trying to kill him.
so then the person that owned it basically, like, I don't know what happened, like they foreclosed on it or whatever. So these other people bought it, thought they had big aspirations of just taking on this
Before we
house,
podcast, Chris.
and they ripped out all of the walls. And once they ripped out all of the walls and turned it from a 4-unit place into a 1-unit place, it wasn't easy once it went into foreclosure again with these people, it wasn't easy for a slumlord to just come in and flip it. They couldn't just flip it into another, like, it was like, oh, the walls are out. And
So
they
the
just
people
walked
that are there now are the ones that finished the house.
No. So,
No.
okay. So it sat vacant after the people that ripped out all the walls for a long time. It sat vacant for
And
about
they
a year.
couldn't find and they couldn't locate those people.
They couldn't locate those people at all. And
Right there, maybe.
what's up?
Maybe
No.
they're right there.
They bounced. They left. They had a bunch of dogs and they left. So then it sat vacant for a while, and one of the contractors that does a lot of historic work around the city had seen it, and they decided to buy it. And then he's the one that fixed it up from there and covered over the gravestone. So I'm sure he saw them, but I'm sure he just was kind of like, we're not even going to deal with that. And just
Now, would you be upset if I sent an anonymous letter to these people and said, "Hey, you got dead bodies under your shed"?
I would probably be a little annoyed, just because, it's.
I think it'd be fun.
I'd do it. I would actually, you know what I think you should do?
Well, how's it
You
gonna? Well, I wouldn't say it's. I wouldn't say it's from. It'd be anonymous. I would just.
Yeah, but
What I think you should do,
finding
there's
this podcast, and then my neighbors know that I'm talking about them on a podcast. I
I
don't
could do it like when someone kidnaps someone and they do take out the letters from the magazine.
that'll make it even look cooler and more.
Yeah.
threatening.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm saying. Like there's this little company I know in Indiana. It's a paper company. See if they have any like this old, like dated paper, and like get like an old looking envelope and an old looking paper, and then do the newspaper clippings and all that stuff, and then see if you can get like an old like 1930s stamp and stick it on there or something. Like something that's like make it like the letter just now got there. From like the past. It's like there's
that's a great idea.
So Nick, now you brought up last week, and you mentioned that there's like surveying companies that can use equipment that can go down and do like a surface scan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know of any companies that would actually perform that duty for a civilian operation?
You would need to find some kind of survey company. I mean, not in Indiana, of course, but like you. First thing you probably have is a gradiometer, which is like this. It's a magnetic pole. You can't have any kind of metal on you, and it's like the cheapest one, and you can find anomalies underneath the ground. And then after that, you'll get the ground penetrating yard, which looks like a lawnmower. And you slowly push that over the ground, and it will send a shockwave down into the ground and come back up. And it'll
if you could estimate,
Hmm?
what would the cost be to have a team of folks go to this house and perform that?
for that little bitty backyard, not much. You know,
Like
maybe
the
Well,
ballpark.
could they do two
Nah,
houses? So we need
I would-
Matt's backyard.
probably $500.
$500.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like 2 years worth of Patreon payments.
Patreon.
Let's just send them a card to a local place and be like, we will pay for it if we can come and film our fucking Netflix special.
Yeah. Well, I think we
Really?
wait though till I sit.
I really don't like how this podcast is.
Let's
turned on me.
convince Matt that Cindy because
On you.
we
This isn't about you, Matt. Stop thinking this is about you. This is about your fucking freaky deaky neighbors.
what we can do, Matt. Think long term here.
Mhm.
Think retirement because like Chris is saying that Netflix special would just probably win some Emmys.
I mean, pre-production, it would win.
Yeah. So what we do is you put some cameras on your house pointed towards where the shed is. So when they panic and come running out there and dig up the dead bodies, we have cameras we're already filming it. Think about
Or what if we
podcast.
just start a company and buy that equipment and do it ourselves?
Yeah.
No, the Granny
could we-
Homer
could we-
alone would cost you $50,000.
I could probably borrow Jay's
Hold on.
Ghostbuster
Rent
outfit.
it. Just
I'll borrow Jay's Ghostbuster outfit.
I think I've got a Lego proton
people,
pack around
the
here.
people that live there now have no idea about this stuff in the past, and there hasn't been any activity.
Matt, your
since
fucking
all of
negativity on this subject has got to stop.
You're
Okay,
bringing
like
it
we're
down, Matt.
the midst of creating here. Like this is actually going to make us money, and
What
we're
if
going to
we
win
offered-
awards,
What if we offered
and we're going
Matt
to
a
uncover
bag of
some
weed?
shit.
Bag of weed.
I'm not gonna do it for a bag. No, I wouldn't.
All right, you're out then, Matt.
Yeah, you get no credit for this. We're just gonna go.
You're not going to be an executive producer on this shit.
Kim, at a distance there, it's just my eyesight. I
But
thought
it-
that was an eggplant, but that is a coffin.
I thought it was an eggplant too. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
why I was like Saved by the Dong and the Bell. I was like, what's she talking
Yeah,
about?
I gotta be honest too.
Bell for? I'm like, gotcha.
I thought it was an eggplant. Also.
Okay, so that's a
All right. Well, so we'll work on Matt, and if Matt decides
You know-
not to do it, the three of us will.
Well,
Go ahead
I'm
and,
thinking like, Matt actually might be the Rick Wright of the Pink Floyd record, The Wall here, because that's what happened with him. They fired him from the band, and he was hired on as a session manager, and he's the only one that made money off of that deal because he didn't have to, all the expenses weren't tied to him. So
Maybe
Matt
that's
actually might
Matt's
be
plan. Maybe that's what his plan is.
Or he could be the Dave Mustaine of the group and go and try and find his own production.
That's
no. I was
Metallica.
really just trying to talk to Jack about his own experiences and kind of relate it back to me.
But yours is a lot better. Mine. I'll bring the thing out here. See if there's any dead bodies. I don't care. I mean,
They all got
But I-
washed
I
away
did-
in the
That would
Great
be
Flood.
interesting for you,
I-
Jack. I think that
it-
would
but hold on. We know they're dead bodies right there. We know that.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Yeah.
Like
We
that's
know
the
it.
thing.
Wow.
Is like we're going in with like the wild card. The fact that we know that there's shit there. I mean, it's a win-win. I don't understand the hang up this with
digging
Matt.
that up anymore. I could.
You're disturbing. Is it though? You're disturbing someone's final resting place that could haunt you forever.
I don't live next to the house, so
I again, I have not had any activity.
Why did you disturb my sleep, Jack?
I got it. They can come fight with the other ghost I have here.
Oh, okay.
But I did find out that the people are not leaving because they've been murdered. I did
Wait,
find
what?
that out. The people that keep leaving the house, there's it's been
Mhm.
mysterious how they just up and leave
Yeah.
because their next door neighbor keeps calling 911 on them because they might get in a spat. So that's why they've been leaving.
That's a different side of the street.
In on the same vein, but different story. I am not a very spiritual person,
I don't think any of us are.
right? I don't really, but I don't think you have to be spiritual to kind of appreciate the
Wait, do you mean religious or
Yes.
spiritual? You mean religious?
religious. I'm not a
There's
very
difference.
religious person.
I'm a man of faith.
But I don't think that you necessarily have to be a religious person or spiritual to believe in some of this, phenomenon.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'll share. I'm going
totally.
to share a personal story. It's interesting because it's really fresh, as in like 24 hours old. So yesterday, I'm in my kitchen and I forgot what I was doing. I think I was just like sorting stuff out, like mail or whatever. No, definitely wasn't. Not rubbing one out. And dude, this is no joke, and I'm being very sincere, kind of like bringing up, pulling down my guard a little bit in this one, but no gummies were involved either. But I had this crazy experience yesterday where I was in the kitchen and I can't fucking explain it. It was nuts. Like I had this overwhelming, like unbelievable surge of like emotion and this weird feeling. Like the hair on my arm stood straight up and the back of my neck stood straight up, and it's fucked up, man. But I feel like it was totally my dad, because I had like this flow of all these crazy emotions about my dad just out of the blue. Wasn't even thinking about him at the time. It just fucking happened. And I'm sitting there and like I froze, and it was nuts. And my wife comes in. She's like, are you okay? She had no idea what the fuck was going on. And I was like, yeah, dude, but the wildest shit just happened. What the fuck is that? Behind you, Matt.
That's why we're yeah.
So it was
That's the house.
It was the wildest thing, and I've never been so sure about something I'm not sure about. But it was awesome. It's actually fucking incredible, and it went away. And like I told my wife, and she was like, "Wow!" Like she's like, "You were like in a trance." But it was an incredible moment. It was incredible. It was like a mix of like such like happiness and joy and sadness and everything all mixed up and just like smacked me in the face at once. And wow. It was just this weird feeling that
somebody ghosted you.
Yeah. It was fucking cool, man.
I meant to ask,
nice.
or I meant to ask or talk about this last week, but has anybody had like the goodbye dream? You know, like like you have a dream where somebody comes to you in your dream that has passed.
No,
I had a dream that John Lithgow was trying to kill me, but
well,
Trinity killer.
Well, in the same vein as what Chris is talking about, like I've had.
No, I got you.
I've had after my grandfather died, I had this really profound dream, you know, with him. It felt like him, like what Chris is saying, where it's just like it feels so tangible that it almost like, you know, it's like, I don't know, it's like their presence or something. Like you're like, oh, like that's you. Like it's so hard to describe because it's like it's almost like a taste in your mind, you know. After my mom died, I had a dream with her as well, and that one was specifically like goodbye. Like she was like, I'm going away, I can't be with you. Like my sister was there, very emotional. I was crying, like just like weeping in the dream. And then also with my friend Ed, who had committed suicide. It was the very next morning that I had a dream with him, and that was really powerful, you know. And it was definitely like my last moment with him. And you know, I never had another dream. You know, every now and then I'll have a dream with my mom. You know, like where she'll appear or something, and you know, and those are really powerful. Sometimes they can be really hurtful because it's like you in the dream. I'm usually like, wait, where have you been? You know, and I'm trying, like my conscious life is trying to rationalize, like, well, you've been gone, you know, and you want to be with them, but then there's this pain that's involved with just like trying to understand it. So
I think I said last week my mom had a dream that her mom sat at the edge of her bed and said everything's going to be okay, and she found out next day her mom died.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know how to be okay when my grandfather was still alive. He was kind of an ass. But anyway, but then my daughter also, I said last week, my uncle was her godfather, and she had a dream that he came to visit her and he had died that day, that night. So, and like I said, I have dreams all the time about my dad, that he's still alive, but he's still suffering from the disease he died of. So it's like they're shitty dreams.
That's.
I mean, I just can't get. I think it's because I haven't, even though it's been close. It hasn't been 4 years. The way he died was such a shitty way to die that I'm angry about it. So that's probably why I have dreams about that, where I'm just still pissed about it. But anyway,
the grieving process is so different for everybody, but one thing is true, at least from other people that I've talked to that have dealt with very close death, is like that first year, that first period of time, like it's like you're so sensitive but you're so aware at the same time, and it's like, I don't know, at some point it's like I wanted to go back to that year where I was grieving still, because I was closer to her, or I was closer to the event. And in some ways, like, it's like I almost, miss the sorrow in a weird way. I don't know how to describe it.
It's a tangible thing that you can latch onto.
Yeah. It's like, and the more distance that's there, it's like what you said, Jack, is like, it's been, you're like, oh, it's been 4 years, or, and it's like, in some way, it's like time diminishes the meaning of it, but it doesn't for you, because it's like, it's still fresh, it doesn't.
I forget. I watched something recently it's on the same thing you're talking about, where someone talks about that. Actually, I think I remember it's that new Away show that's on Netflix. I think that's what it was. And then they're talking about somebody dies, somebody passes away, and someone asks them about grieving and all that, and they say, like the pain is intolerable for the longest time, and it says like, and you hate that you feel that way. He goes, but then eventually it goes away, but then you start hating that you don't feel it anymore, because you feel like in a way you're forgetting that person if you don't feel that way. It was like I can't say it verbatim like what they were, but it's like, wow, I was like, that really makes a lot of sense, like what they're saying in that one line dialogue, and I was like, that's really cool. But because like you never want to forget people that you were important to in your life, but but eventually it's just the way life goes, that you move on from there, and it's just like, and you hate that it does that. I think we've talked about before, like the things I regret, the people that have died, a long time ago or whatnot, is that how, your life changes so much from, the time you're 18 to 25 or 55 or whatever, or 87 like you, and and that things I like, my grandfather that died in 98, it's things that I regret. I was 17 at the time, and things you talk about at the age of 17, you wouldn't talk about it at the age of 35 or 50. And it's things that you would like to talk about them as your life progressed, but they couldn't be there with you. And you're like, oh man, I really wish my dad was here, or I wish my granddad was here, or I wish, but whoever, that's what is what blows my mind the older I get, and the more I think about things like that. Not to get too deep. We are getting deep.
No, we're already there.
Yeah, I know.
well, I hope Sherry got the laugh she was looking for.
I know, for real.
That's a little too soon there, Jack.
Yeah, I know. That's what my dad. It's a shitty fucking way to, because when I found out that's what Robin Williams had, I go, well, I see why he killed himself.
Yeah,
because it's. I never even knew about it. I didn't even know it existed until my dad was diagnosed with it. Well, at least that's what they think he had. But it's ridiculous. But on a cheerful note, Padres.
I didn't even know San Diego had a team.
Well, they actually have one they kept. So it sucks to see the Chargers lose in overtime on Sunday.
That's our major league. For anyone out there who didn't get the quote.
Yeah, I got it.
What were we talking about before we hit record? Something about Star Wars.
I finished Clone Wars.
Oh yeah. Well,
let's
not the good, the bad, the ugly.
Let's make it just a quick commercial break.
That's what it was.
And my favorite commercial was Dr. Death.
That was your favorite commercial?
Dr. Death. That's okay. That's from Mr. Mom. I remember that's who no, that's from the one with Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn.
Overboard?
Overboard. Yeah, the kid reading the comic book. That's who he's into, is Dr. Death.
You know what? I just saw a trailer for an Amazon original that had to do with a comic book. It's called Utopia. Have you guys heard about this?
No, I have not.
Oh, is that where they've got a different?
No. It's like a dark comedy, like horror, I guess. But the premise that I got from the trailer was there's this comic book that predicts the future of like pandemics and like crazy shit happening in the world.
Huh.
And there is some like organization of people that once they identify someone who has seen the book or the comic, they fucking kill them. And there's like this group of people, like these ragtag group of people that I think one of their leaders might be Rainn Wilson.
Okay.
But they're determined to bring this book to the light of day to help save people. But there's like this faction of people that just murder you if you've seen the book. It's one of those. It's definitely a very like The Boys type of gore and kind of like take on gore, but no superheroes. It looks interesting.
I finished episode 2 of The Boys, but yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
I do need to watch the third episode. I haven't watched it yet.
The first chapter of the
isn't there
book,
4 out or 5 out now?
I think the first chapter of the book, it reads, "Please wear a mask."
Whatever episode came out this past Friday, I haven't watched yet.
So
I like
that's
this.
how they know you died because
man.
you're wearing a mask. You must have read the book.
It's got the very end of this newest episode, Chris. It's got a very interesting sex scene at the very end that is it's very different.
Different from the first season.
Different from the one of him like having sex with himself.
That was in episode, like there's another, because that was weird too. But it's doppelganger though. Yeah, that's weird. This one is a different kind of
sex scenes, guys. Come on.
Yeah. But yeah, this one's I wasn't quite sure so far with this season of The Boys if I was gonna like it or not, because I really liked the first season, and then this one's I think this last episode I'm kind of like, okay, now I'm kind of back on board with it. So
the acting, I love the acting and the new character they have. I don't want to spoil any much. She's actually
Storm?
pretty good.
Storm,
I think it's her name.
Stormbreaker,
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a great show. I think it's the show that nobody knew they wanted, but everybody actually found out they needed, because it's one of those.
It has so many what the fuck moments.
Yeah,
I was saying last week the first episode has that. I seriously did not see it coming. It's like, not as big as the first one, the first season, where it kind of sets up the whole. Because I think Chris, you were the one that started watching and said it had.
That was like the biggest what the fuck moment I've saw in television.
And right when it happened, I go, "That's what Chris was talking about." Okay, got it.
It was kind of like a Meet Joe Black, but way more gory.
It's been like when my parents were up here, when we came back from Wyoming, my parents don't get Amazon, so I was like, "Oh, Dad, you got to watch The Boys. You're gonna like it," And I think we got 2 or 3 episodes into the first season, and he was totally hooked. And Moms were going like, "I don't like this. It's all gory and blah, blah, blah." So we had to turn it, and it was like, and my dad's over like pouting like a little kid, like, "Oh, watch The Boys." And I was like, "Okay, we can watch Cobra Kai," and then my mom really liked that, so we watched all Cobra Kai. But it's just like he's over there looking at me like, "I want to watch The Boys."
When does season 3 come out of Cobra Kai?
2021.
Not till 2021.
They filmed it last fall. That's what's crazy about it. But I think it's because of COVID, and they're not sure when they can film season 4. They're trying to stretch it out a little bit. So
right.
they're like, "Oh, we'll debut it
Fucking
in spring
COVID.
of 2021."
I'm
and then
standing by my prediction.
I think so too. I wrote another.
And for the record, I fucking said that the
I think we
second.
Yeah.
The second it started going down, and you got the text message or the Facebook message.
I think
But
it's
from
confirmed.
From the previews, though, that we've seen, that this is actually taking quite a bit of time in the future. Season 3 is from the ending of season 2, and
So they're combining Back to the Future and Cobra Kai.
it's just that it's not immediately picking up at the end of season 2 like it was. But Daniel is going to be in Okinawa a lot this season, so it's not going to be like the confrontation that we would like to see with Allie and Daniel and Johnny. So I think a lot of it's I think Daniel's going to have his own thing somewhere in Japan, while maybe Allie and Johnny reestablish their connection or whatnot, or maybe it's going to be Johnny taking over Miyagi-Do. You don't know. Like, it could go anywhere, really.
Well, according to some, Johnny should have been with Allie the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Well, according to Johnny.
Because Daniel was
He was the bad guy.
He's the bad guy, yeah. But I mean, I'm interested to see, like, because I think a lot of people are more rooting for Johnny and Carmen to get together more than Allie, because Carmen's a fucking fox.
Yeah,
maybe Allie would be more like Kate from Lost and just fuck everything up all the time.
Maybe.
Oh, so my background here, Lost. I was on this Lost rewatch with Jack, and it was a lot of fun. And I wanted to mention, yeah, but we had to cover 3 episodes.
That's true.
So,
and Back to the Future 4, written by.
I did put that out there. But one of the things that I noticed about Some Like It Hoth is that, as Jorge is proposing his idea of Empire Strikes Back, he's rewriting it or what have you. He says to Miles, because he's trying to get Miles to grow a heart about his dad. He says, well, if Luke would have just talked to his dad instead of like fighting, then he wouldn't have like got, his hand cut off. And I'm like, wait, no, he gets his hand cut off and then he finds out that he's his dad. Like, there's no like, hey, let's talk it out, Dad, or you told me that you're my dad and then I fight you. And so it's kind of like one of those like odd moments where I'm like, did the writers know Star Wars? That they know Star Wars, but they just flubbed that, or I don't know.
There's a lot of. It's like Vader's just chilling on Cloud City. He's just waiting for. On Bespin, he's just waiting for him. And then what Luke do? Luke walks right up to him and just pulls out the lightsaber.
Yeah,
Vader's just hanging out. Like,
come on, bitch!
I'm ready to fight. And he's like, Vader's kind of like, what the heck?
All of Luke's early moments in that fight is like all aggression. Mm-hmm. Like, he's the one that ignites first. He's the one that strikes first. And
so Luke is the bad guy.
First, strike hard, no mercy.
Luke is the bad guy.
So Luke's the bad guy.
That's where it was originally going, Jack. Like, I know Matt and I really talked about this before, but when Gary Kurtz was the producer, that's where it was heading. It was that Luke was going to turn bad, and at
the end of Return of the Jedi.
At the end of Return of the Jedi, and because there was going to be another trilogy because Leia was never supposed to be his sister.
Yeah, there was another sister that was off somewhere else.
And Leia was going to be the one that really does everything.
What's up?
Did he kiss her too, the other sister?
Probably. That's just the way it goes, man. You got to keep the the line pure. But the midichlorians.
So I know Nick and we've been rewatching the despecialized versions. I was actually subjecting my kids to it. I mean, they like it. They like certain parts of the despecialized because it's not the first time I've played them an uncut version. But it's funny because there's a part where Vader says no and picks up the Emperor, and it's added.
Right. I hate that.
So my kids are like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. And then of course in this version he doesn't say it. Yeah. And they're like, yay, he didn't say it. And they also
I know why did they add that in?
I think
to make a connection to Revenge of the Sith and the whole like no, like he busts free and finds
someone screams no in every episode.
Have you ever met anybody that liked it?
No.
I
mean, it's the same thing as putting the young Hayden Christensen in the end as well. It's like no, just leave him the way it was.
Yeah, especially him.
The one thing that my daughter pointed out that I never had picked up on, and that they did legitimately go through and fix, is when Luke takes his mask off, and you see Anakin for the first time. In the original uncut version, his eyebrows are black.
Right.
They are like dark.
They're gone. They're gone.
And they're gone. They're like
he's egghead.
Yeah. I like the idea that he did have eyebrows that were black. And he just dyed them. That's the only hair he has.
Yeah, so he took it off. He's like, I got to keep the looks,
Yeah, like one day Padme's going to come back, and I'm going to have like these great eyebrows.
Yeah, eyebrows. Can I say something though? Aren't helping him.
No, that scar is not going. No matter what.
He's pasty white. I mean, he's worse than Jay. So anyway.
He's well fed though.
Yeah,
Sure is.
he's a bit portly.
For someone that has to eat off a feeding tube, probably.
Yeah,
you know, it's
the
like,
one.
ooh.
Yeah, he's the one that's saying Obi-Wan got old, but dude, it's not looking much better.
Well, Obi-Wan
Yeah,
stayed fit because he
and
lived
did
in
not
the
age
desert.
well.
You do wonder like how he went number 2 or number 1, really, you know, because like,
Vacuum tubes.
yeah,
He used the
the
force.
vac tube.
No, just use the force.
But I was saying before we hit record, watching I rarely watch Star Wars. I've seen them sometimes. I usually just listen to it because I know what's going on. But because of Despecialized, I actually watched it. You know, and like little things that you pick up on that that just like, oh, I didn't realize that until like in Empire Strikes Back, for example, when Luke's leaving to go to Bespin, and Obi-Wan and her talking, he's like, no, there is another. The first thing you see is Leia, and you're like, oh, that's a nice little. I don't know if it was intentional, but it's a nice little like, oh, that's the other. And there was another one I noticed. Oh, it's like another from Empire Strikes Back. It's like Vader. The whole time they're pursuing Han and the Millennium Falcon, Vader's just determined to get them. They go through the asteroid field and all this, and there's a scene where Admiral Piet is saying, from the amount of damage we've sustained, they must be destroyed, and Vader just dismisses it. He's like, no, they're alive. And I always thought that was weird. He's like, how does he know? And it's because he's picking up a force-sensitive person who he thinks is Luke on the Falcon, but really it's Leia. And you're like, oh, man, like just things that you don't really, as a kid, think about until like you're trying to put it all together.
Were there farms on that planet? Because I just see a lot of dirt.
Tatooine?
Yeah, were there
They're moisture farmers. Those little towers that are outside the home.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
They harness all the moisture from the air because that water is the biggest thing of value on Tatooine.
Okay. Yeah, where did Obi-Wan get his food? He lived in a cave and nobody saw him, right?
And if you notice, Luke at the end of Empire says Tatooine. He doesn't say Tatooine. He says Tatooine. So
what does he know? He's a tiny little kid.
Yeah, that was before the Star Wars encyclopedias were being written. They just fucking read what they saw on a piece of paper.
It's all over the first one, Star Wars, where everybody's like, Princess Leia.
Yeah.
It's like, you just acted like you guys are BFFs and you're calling her Leia? Like, who?
Well, he had a crush on her right when he saw her in when R2-D2 popped out the message. He's like, whoa.
Yeah, he did.
And he goes, because they cut out the scene where he goes, I'd like to see her in a slave outfit.
I think that you're thinking of the line where he says, all I've seen is my aunt, Beru.
She's hot. Well, she's burnt.
She was smoking hot.
She's smoking hot. So I'll tell you the spice farmers. I'll tell you I finished watching the Clone Wars, and I have a new favorite character until I see more of Thrawn.
Heck yeah!
And that is Darth motherfucking Maul.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna go Ahsoka. Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, Ahsoka too, right? But Darth Maul was just,
isn't it great? Yeah.
So good. Like the story was just so great.
I think. Sorry, I just wanted to leap on it. Yeah.
No, don't spoil anything. I'm on season 1 of Rebels now.
No, it's just
there's
more. Like, that's Clone Wars and Rebels gave a lot of closure to a lot of fans who loved the Maul in episode 1, and it's just like, yes, this is what we wanted. Just a really cool, conflicted Darth, dark Force user.
Well, I mean, Filoni truly just created a character. And you think about it, because Darth Maul had like one line of dialogue in episode 1.
Yeah, at last.
Like, and it was just there was no depth to him whatsoever, other than just being completely badass and like really cool looking. Mm-hmm. Like that's all you got, and you got like a double bladed lightsaber.
Yep.
But that was it. Like, so there was no like real depth to the character at all. And the storylines that they put together for Darth Maul in Clone Wars is just fucking rad. And obviously, you can go to
that is a good one.
You get to see like his brother, right, Savage Opress, which is like just such a really cool fucking like side story, but kind of shows like a lot of his motivations and stuff that like of things that happened afterwards.
And they try to gang up and destroy the Emperor too. Like that
Yes,
whole storyline.
yes.
I mean, like I loved that. Like watching that go down. It's like, yeah, that would totally make sense. Like Maul is out for any type of revenge, you know, and from the people that slighted him. Obi-Wan, the Emperor, and whoever this new guy is.
You know, what's funny? What's funny too is that I didn't realize that I was in the final season. You know, 'cause I get kind of like caught into the wormhole of just the next episode. You know,
Right.
And it was funny because I started realizing the art direction changed ever so slightly in the season. I was like, why does Anakin just look
awesome.
so like, I don't know, old or like smoother? Like, and I'm like, and why is he talking? Where is he? I'm like, oh fuck, this is when he becomes Darth fucking Vader. Like it's happening in the background. Like this is actually really cool. Like you realize like how not become Darth Vader, but the beginnings of him to, you know, turning on the Jedi and selling the Emperor and stuff and killing what's his name, Dooku.
Oh yeah.
But it was just really cool because you start picking up on these things where they intertwine that episode. Like that last season specifically gets really intertwined with other, you know, Star Wars stuff, like other movies and such, and even Solo. Like, and Nick, I think I texted you or I messaged you and Matt. Like there's that one scene where it's like, hey, wait, is that the scene that we saw in the Solo movie?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like,
well,
cool.
you see the guy that plays Vision. You know, he's there, and then crap, Matt would know the name. You have Crimson Dawn and have
all the families, crime
Black
families.
Sons, you know, and like all the but you have the crime families there, and you're like, oh, that's so cool. Like they're showing, you know, trying to be as accurate as possible, and
and like the subtle references to like where Anakin was or where Obi-Wan was, it was like, oh, he's off doing this, which is like, oh fuck, that's from the movie. Like he's in the middle of some shit right now.
Well, I mean, hell, even things that like I know Matt and I talked about, like things that I liked were. I'm sorry, Jack. I know you didn't watch any of this. But
no, this is great.
It's like there's that scene in the hologram scene where Ahsoka is talking to Mace Windu and Yoda and all that, and you're talking about things that are going on. And if she just would have waited just a few more minutes, then you would have seen Anakin pop up because that's the exact same scene from Episode 3, and you're like, this is so like it's the same conversation.
Yes.
Like, that's so cool.
Yes. And it's kind of cool how like it kind of also told the story about why you don't see Ahsoka in the original movies. That they kind of like wrote their way out of that a little bit, right? Because she was kind of like exiled and just wasn't in the picture, and she's off doing her own shit and doesn't come back into the picture until well after the prequels.
Well, and she leaves the Order. I mean, you know, it's like she's exiled from the Order. She does, you know, basically earn her way back, but they're also like. She's basically at that point like, see ya.
Yep. Yeah. So I thought they did a really, really cool, nice job. Like kudos to, and I'm definitely, you know, well behind on that show, and then people have been watching it forever. But Filoni did a phenomenal job of writing that in without having it be like abrasive to the story, kind of like just interlaced with everything. And it adds a whole 18 different dimensions to Star Wars, which I think is really, really cool.
And you should. I mean, I don't know if you'll ever get around to watching it again, Chris. But I have a list of how you should actually watch it, like in order, chronologically. And it's so much better. Like you pick up on so many things that you're just like, oh my god! Like you don't pick up on a lot of stuff until you watch it when it's in order, and you're like, this is great.
Yeah. Very well done.
But yeah, Filoni's great, and that's who I really wish, you know, because there's rumors going around that Lucas may come back, you know, for a few years after Kathleen Kennedy's contract expires. But yeah, if that doesn't come true, I really want Filoni to take over as Lucas Films.
Yeah.
If he's even up for it, he might just want to stay as a creative director. Who knows?
Yeah. How many episodes are there a season?
It depends.
20?
Yeah, like season 6 and season 7 are really short.
Yeah, they're shortened. So
yeah, and all the episodes are like 22-3 minutes long.
You can knock it out pretty quick.
So it's like a sitcom.
It's a cartoon, so it's you know it's.
I mean,
there's like Frasier's there, Kramer's there, all the ERs are there.
Jerry's what's the deal with Darth Vader?
Norm is a disaster at the Force.
Yeah, it's just over.
Everywhere they go, Norm! Darth Vader, Norm.
Just imagining Costanza would probably die within the first, because he would be working
just
for
getting angry.
Vader. And Vader would just
He's
get
like
annoyed with him.
he's like a cockroach.
Yeah, he would somehow survive.
Costanza would be Jar Jar.
Where everybody knows your name, you shall go.
Who'd be Yoda?
Coach.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
It's totally Coach. Oh, fuck.
That would make Woody Baby Yoda. So,
Yeah, I guess.
Not to keep talking about Star Wars, so I'll change it a little bit. But
actually, Jack's background is very Star Wars.
I can't see it. I just see
the
Jackson.
red and the visor.
But before we jump off this point, though, can we just address the fact that it just sounded like Jack was relenting and potentially would want to be interested in listening to or watching more Star Wars content?
Well, he does want his lifelong dream is to be on Owen and Bruce. So
To be fair, I love Star Wars, but I just don't know what you're talking about. So I'm listening.
you're gonna like Rebels though, Chris. Like season 1, like I said, and Matt and I said season 1 can be a little bit of a struggle to get through.
Yeah,
but
I am struggling a little bit right now.
Yeah, but after there's a certain episode, and once you get past that, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, now I'm into it. Yeah.
I'm in like the second episode of the Inquisitor? I think his
Mhm.
name is.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 The ending, the last 3 episodes are really, the story really starts to congeal where you're like all these other little breadcrumbs are starting to kind of come together.
Cool.
So
It's good though, because you're gonna love it, because you're gonna see Maul, you're gonna see Thrawn, you're gonna see a lot of characters that you're like, yes, there he is.
So I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is a nice way to button it up. But for folks going back to work, I think that there's especially break rooms and break spaces in which people are commuting for lunch or whatever. It's kind of tough right now. So I actually prefer to not be at my work during my lunch. I like to get out and walk around or do whatever. But now I sit in my car and watch fucking cartoons. but I found this awesome way to do it. Right. I actually, first of all, if you work in a place in which you have access to your car, try sitting in your car and eating lunch. It's actually one of the most peaceful things I've ever done. And it just
I used to do that all the time.
I used to do that as well.
Time.
Well, I had no
But
friends, so
I bought on Amazon, janejack.com/Amazon, a food tray that latches onto your steering wheel. And it's fucking incredible, dude. So you have to turn your wheel to the right, like 90, right? So you have the big opening of your steering wheel that just latches onto the bottom. You place your food or whatever, or your phone, and you sit there and eat and watch TV. It's awesome. So go to janejack.com.
That's
you have roller
cool.
skates on and come serve yourself. Is that?
Yeah. I'm gonna find a picture of it now.
Oh, I'm already on it here for you.
Oh, nice.
So here we have
Yeah, it's the one in the middle. The one in the middle I got.
the one in the middle,
Also,
right there.
Then it holds your phone. Is that what it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
only
you turn
15
your steering wheel, so the big open part is on the bottom, and you can see how the indents there will groove and grips on it right onto the steering wheel.
Right
Yes,
there.
there
Wow.
it is. It's awesome.
It also
That
works,
is
it also
that is
works when you're driving because you're in the 10 and 2 position, right?
awesome. you can be on Facebook while you're driving. So
Yeah. That's actually
But
a pretty clever idea.
Yeah, no,
it's
I like
a great tool to have if you're eating your lunch break in your car.
Doesn't look like it'd be too. Wow,
Looks like-
the whole thing for you got Dasani and water, a Coke and water.
Dasani's not water.
it almost makes you feel like you're in an airplane.
Well, Dasani
It's
is owned by
exactly what it feels
Coca-Cola.
like. It feels like you're on
Exactly.
an airplane.
Is there
But
someone in the wait to make it get the full effect of the airplane? You need to get some kid behind you kicking your chair the whole time,
Yeah.
or the guy that gets up, the guy that can't get up without pulling on the back. Of your
Oh God,
seat
yeah, I want to punch
and
this
then letting
people.
go. And you go, come on, are you not realizing you're flinging me like 15 feet forward every time you do that?
Yeah.
Actually,
Highly
the ones that
recommended.
piss me off are the people, like, as soon as you get on the plane, they put their seat all the way back before you
Yeah.
even take it off.
Mhm.
And then the stewardess has to come by and go like, can you put the seat back up? And they're like, oh, what? And it's just like, you can't have it down. And as soon as the little dinger goes off, they slam it back down your legs, and you're like,
Well,
I'm burning,
but-
you fucker.
But I like that because usually I'll put my computer on there, my laptop. If I know they're going to do that ahead of time, I wait till they do it before, because nothing's worse when they go funk and your computer goes into your lap because they're so rude. I don't think any chair should recline. To be honest with you.
Yeah,
I don't recline the chair. If you're sitting behind me, you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
I don't recline because I think it's.
I do the same thing because as a tall person, basically like my knees go right to where that is. So if you're coming back, you're coming right on my knees, and I have very. That's it. Like I'm like great, thank you.
I always pick aisle seats. People are always like, "Why do you get the aisle?" I'm like, "Because I have long legs, and it's the only place I can put them."
Yep. Yeah, I can stretch out a little bit.
Aisle's the best. Like I said, I usually don't. One time I did fall asleep on the plane, and my head was and they did hit me with the food cart.
Oh yeah.
I went. Oh my God! Was there a sorry? No.
That's the one bad thing. Is that it's like if you're on the aisle, if you fall asleep or your legs are out and the food cart comes by, you're gonna get nailed, and they give zero fucks.
Well, I usually don't sleep even over even the red eyes. I stay awake.
It's the only place in the world I can't sleep is on a fucking plane.
Yeah,
I
fall
can
asleep one
anywhere
time,
else.
and that was when I got smacked in the head. So
I hate.
I've fallen
the
asleep
key is
standing up in the
this
shower.
thing called-
I can't fall asleep in a goddamn
there's
plane.
this thing called Jack TV. I usually just put the headphones on, hit play, fall right to sleep. It's great.
nice. It's crazy, Hank, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
There's actually
Remember Jay and Jack TV on Nudia?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's the new Dia channel. That's what I was thinking.
well, there were plenty of shows you could fall asleep on that one.
But speaking of TV, before we get too far away,
Star Wars special. Okay.
I had mentioned to you on our private chat, and Jack responded that I have a list as long as my arm of things I need to watch, and so I was like, I need to watch this 11/22/63, which came out 4 years ago on Hulu.
Wow.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, that was 2016 is when it came out,
I'm gonna do a rewatch because
it's only 8 episodes, but it's phenomenal. I was like, how did this escape me so long ago that
I think I brought it up on this podcast.
Yeah, and I don't remember you messaging the group about this.
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
But I watched the first episode. And I went, "This is really interesting," you know. And then the second, I was like, "It just, and it just kept getting better." Because there's definitely a lot of humor. There's definitely a lot of nice moments, and then there's a lot of like just tense where you're just like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!" And so it's a good balance of just.
Did you ever crush on one of the actresses?
Oh my god, that's the most beautiful woman I think I've seen in the longest time. I just couldn't get over how beautiful she was, and how is she not a famous actress by now? It's like
it's like wow, where's she been?
I was like, she's Canadian. That's why.
I remember just wanting to hate on James Franco.
I was like, you get to kiss that? Oh my god. The way she looks up at him with those doe eyes all the time, she's like, "Oh my god, she's gorgeous." Anyway,
why Nicholas
Randy, it's on Hulu. What?
It's on Hulu, Randy. Randy is asking what 11/22/63 is on.
Yeah,
so.
it's really good.
You were in the one where they redid Lincoln, and you were playing the James Franco character. You just said, "Fuck it, let him die," right?
I just would have grabbed the girl and got the hell out of there.
You grabbed Mary Lincoln.
Yeah, Mary Todd, man, she was crazy. I like the crazy one.
I think she moved in next to Matt. Killed her family.
I never claimed that anybody killed anybody at this
no, but that's what happened.
We're
all claiming
they probably died of tuberculosis and they chunked him in the backyard. You know?
That's what I'm saying. Like
that's what you do. That's what you do when your family dies. You just go, I lived, they died.
But I do highly recommend
No mystery there.
2263 for everyone who has not seen it out there listening. It's a great show. It's only 8 episodes, and you'll be entertained all the way from the beginning to the end. Good show.
It was really the worst part was I watched it. I had to wait each week because it was Hulu. I was like, why did I wait until this ended and then start watching it?
Yeah, I remember you complaining about that, so I kind of waited until it was ending so I could start it that way. Because I remember you talking about it. You were like, "Oh, this is great." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna wait."
It was a good complaint because it was because sometimes the shows you go, "Okay, I can wait a week."
Yeah,
this was like, I gotta wait a week.
That Lost effect, so it leaves you wanting more. So,
but Nick is right. It's excellent. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I can't believe it's been 4 years though.
4 years, yeah. Because I mean, as, when they ask him like, "What time are you from?" He's like 2016, and I'm like, "Oh," and then you look it up, it's like, "Yeah, it came out 2016." You're like, God.
He's like, right before the shit went to the fan.
Franco, let's be honest. James Franco, he's hit or miss. Right?
That's what I'm saying, because I think that's what
You
kept me from
want to
watching.
hate him so
Because
much too, and
I-
then you're just like, oh, it's good.
I've never thought much about it. There's only one scene where he's not believable, and it's the very last episode when something really bad happens and he's crying, and you're like, I don't feel it, man. Like, I mean, if this meant this much to you,
He's not a
you
good
would
crier.
be freaking out right now. And it's but great show. Even I welled up a little bit. Did not full on cry, but I welled up. So
Dude,
What
Lee
could-
Harvey
what-
Oswald character was fucking awesome.
he nailed the accent. I mean,
Amazing.
so good.
Who's easier to hate on is James Franco's younger brother.
Well, he married Alison Brie.
because it's who he's married to. I just don't see it. I'm sorry.
I don't either. Yeah, exactly.
I don't- Because he was in Scrubs too.
He was in the Scrubs, the reboot class or whatever, which was awful. Like,
Come on, it was. I didn't think it was awful. It wasn't as good as the original, but there was some.
all of a sudden they're in college, and there's episodes in which like some people aren't there, and you're like, are they still married? Who are like what?
Yeah, but I don't get him and Alice. I don't get it.
No, I don't either.
I just didn't like what they did there with Scrubs. So I know they were trying to keep it going, but I hated that.
That's
last
another show I got to rewatch.
It had its moments, but yeah, like once JD's gone, it's just like
Yeah, and by the way, like I remember watching it back in the day. I didn't remember all of the sex. Like there's a lot of sex in that show. Like they're basically like they're either killing someone, saving someone, or having sex.
for Dr.
And that's-
Cox.
that's-
So it's like Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, or there was the bromance between JD and Richard. But that's about
Every person I know that's a nurse or a doctor says that Scrubs is actually the most accurate show of like what happens in a hospital.
It's like the waiting for healthcare. The waiting is the best movie that describes and encapsulates food service industry. Scrubs is that way for hospitals.
Waiting is definitely a movie that you either know it or you don't know it, and it's exactly if you've been a waiter ever and you watch Waiting, it's dead on.
It's literally exactly what happens.
It's like the scene where the female waitress is like just in the backstage in the back where the cooks are just yelling at them like, hurry the fuck up, get your shit together, like, oh yeah. And then she takes 5 feet out into the floor. She's like, hey, would you like a refill? And that nice to both. He's like, that's exactly what it's like, where you're just a complete asshole to one people and then completely fake to another.
Yep.
It's just perfect.
Can I say, like Sherry sent you those videos? I've never been a doctor or nurse or, but I understand. I got Scrubs right away. I was able to laugh and understand it.
Great. Yeah. I mean,
Just saying. I don't want to keep bringing that up.
Chuck's another show that doesn't get enough credit. That was good.
Well, Chuck died though. Chuck literally died towards the end. It was.
Oh, it did because they didn't have the money. They didn't have the money.
No,
Like,
the last
seasons are
the last
great.
season and a half was just unwatchable.
Yeah, but you notice that like the first 2 seasons are really good, and even the third season is good. But like as they kept losing money because they never got the viewers, they had to cut characters out. They had to cut like so much stuff out that they couldn't.
Yeah, it ruined the first 3 seasons. It's great,
It's great. Yeah,
but seasons 4.
I'm just glad they got to finish it though.
I stopped watching it. I gave up. I said I can't do it anymore. This show's terrible.
Quitter.
I said no. I'm not even going to go to Subway. Fuck them.
So a somewhat doctor-related show that I've been watching, and I remember when it came out, and I remember trying to watch it.
Doctor Who?
Nope, none of those doctors.
Marcus Welby.
Dr. Lahiri, the Mindy Project. So,
I
was like, I'm gonna give this show another chance. I like Mindy Kaling, from The Office, and she's a really funny writer, but for whatever reason, like, it never really gelled with me. And so I pushed through because I just was like, okay, first seasons of any comedy are rough. So maybe this will get better. And it did. I felt like that they changed around the cast a bit. They changed around some different aspects. And by season 2, I'm laughing at episodes left and right. And there is some really funny and very smart writing. I think there was an episode like in the middle of season 1 where like the opener was like a classic Office opener where it just kind of leaves you like, what? that's hilarious. Like just on its own, it can just stand on its own as a little nugget of comedy. And that was when I was like, okay, I'm sticking with this show. I'm gonna keep going. And I just want to say, like, a number of guests and other comedians and actors that you see in other sitcoms, there's just, it's like a melting pot. You know, you're like, oh, he's in this show, and oh, that's the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia guy, and you know, it just they keep popping up. You know, very funny comedians. Kevin Smith makes a couple cameos. It's just like, so if you've ever tried it or watched it and gave up on it like I did, you know, push through. I think there's some definite like golden moments there. I'm not done with the show, which is exciting to me because it's like it's a comedy show that's new to me, even though it's definitely dated in some ways. It's like, oh, remember the Obama years? It's a little bit more lighthearted in some areas where you're like, huh.
It's almost sad how a show has a bad first season.
Mm-hmm.
But then like Parks and Rec, the first season was just terrible, and I gave up on it. But people, you got to go back and watch it, and it was good after. I mean, if you just take away the first season and start the first season, second season, make that the first season, it's probably a bigger hit than it was. You know, it had a cult following, but it was people who said, fuck, that was just terrible. I can't go back and watch that. So it's a shame that they can't, because comedies are hard anyway. Any show is hard. You have to get that. You only have like 2 or 3 episodes to grab it on, if that.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably now it's like 1 episode because there's so much to watch on TV.
Seinfeld suffered from it too.
Yes,
it struggled because they kept moving around the time slot.
Yeah, it was never like they'd skip it for a couple of weeks, or it'd be on like Thursday, it'd be on Tuesday. They kept moving around. I go, why don't we give the show a chance? But luckily, they kept it. You know, like even MASH. MASH first season did not do well in the ratings. I think even All in the Family was struggled at first too. I mean, but it was different times back then though, because there's only 3 channels. Now you have Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon, and all these other channels, Apple, and all Disney Plus. That it's like, this show sucks. I can go on to something else.
And really, MASH, like those first 3 seasons are so good. Like when you rewatch it,
it's brilliant.
Yeah,
and it's just like, but the first season it just struggled until they moved it. I think from Saturday to Monday night. I think that's when it. But I was going to say I started watching Schitt's Creek because talking about it. I watched the first episode.
Perfect timing for the Emmys.
I wanted to watch more, but my daughter has gotten into the Brady. My daughter's gotten into the Brady. She goes, Brady Bunch. So I have to switch to the Brady Bunch. As she sits, she really just likes the theme song, and then she'll watch like 5 minutes of it. Then she goes and walk away.
She should watch the podcast.
So then I start watching. Then I go back, and she comes back, goes, Brady Bunch. I go, okay, all right, go back to Brady Bunch, and Marsha. But then I got to watch it to see. I go, I can't remember how this ends. So then I got to watch it.
Fucking freeze! Nobody move! I swear I'm killing Bobby. They're like, oh shit, I got to see.
Why kill Bobby?
Because Bobby can't look right in the camera.
No, it's Peter.
Peter, yeah, you're right.
Bobby's
Peter.
small.
Some of Chris's edibles. You went,
Sorry, looking at me.
Story. Wow, man.
But speaking of MASH,
it's my dad. I don't know.
Speaking of MASH, even though there's a few like little like time jokes in the show 11/22/63, like that was one of my favorite ones. Was he's talking to James Franco's talking to a guy about something. He goes, "Oh, were you in the service?" And he's like, "Yeah, I was in Korea 2 terms, just like two tours, like just kind of lying." And the guy's like, "Oh, what division were you in?" He kind of looks at me, he thinks about it, and he goes, "MASH 7th 22." Yeah, like whatever the MASH was, that's what he said.
7.
Yeah, 477. You know, it's like, oh my god, it's brilliant.
He cuts off his arm.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry, wrong show.
Wrong show.
Well, I don't want to cut the show, but I am going to cut it in for an ad break. We like to fit. We like to slide 2. It's like a 2 for 2.
I wonder where I can get a TV tray so I can take breaks in my car.
Best idea ever.
Can I just go in my driveway and do it?
Just pick a number.
Stop talking for 1 second so I can
put the ad break right now.
Got it.
Okay.
So if you didn't buy that shit, go over to janjack.com/Amazon. Get your TV tray for your TV tray, your food tray for your truck or
I mean, it's
car.
the same thing.
Yeah,
I should say though, Schitt's Creek did have me hooked right away.
Oh, good. Yeah, I haven't
It's
seen it either.
yeah, it's actually got some funny parts right away.
Oh yeah,
I have no idea had no idea what the show was about. I said, okay, it's winning all these awards.
Mhm.
My daughter says, "You gotta watch Schitt's Creek. It's so funny." I mean, everyone keeps talking about it, so I started watching it. I go, so I'm laughing. Of course, every time I laugh, my granddaughter would come over and change it to Brady Bunch. So,
That's what I was going to say about like comedies. So like one of my favorite comedies, which I know I've said before, is a BBC show called Coupling. It was only on from 2000, 2004. And you're right. Like season 1 of that show, I think has the best writing in it, but it's, the characters haven't found themselves yet. It's all new to them. And to me, it's the stiffest of the 4 seasons, but it's still very good. But if you just watch it on the pilot alone, you probably wouldn't continue to watch the show. It's just like, I
think there's more pressure on these writers and showrunner, everyone involved to. Obviously, you're not going to get a Lost, where Lost was like a movie.
Yeah.
Right. But it is funny though. You watch a show, go, maybe if it has an actor you like, you'll give it another week or so. But like I said, there's so many choices. You just go. It's almost like we go back to talk about The Boys.
Mm-hmm.
I said the first 5 minutes I was hooked just because of that one scene. You're like going,
oh yeah.
oh my God, I got to keep watching.
I love Billy Joel.
With Schitt's Creek, that was one of those shows that the character Moira I didn't really connect with her.
Did I say I'm only on my first episode?
Okay,
I'm sorry. Go ahead though, Matt.
Well, we did have a listener write in as I mentioned.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Years ago, and I was like, oh yeah, you guys should watch it, but whatever. So
I remember everyone said you got to watch it, and I was like, I don't have time. I got to watch the Brady Bunch.
Moira's character grows on the first season. Okay, fine, fuck it.
No,
Schitt's Creek.
no.
Good job.
No, I'm just listen to Jack's sentence structure there. Like, I can't watch Schitt's Creek. I've got to watch the Brady Bunch. There's no one ever except Jack.
I do notice the Brady Bunch that the kids, like the boys, all wear like floods. Like there must have been no money for the show. These kids are wearing, it's like whatever they wore in season 1, they're wearing the same clothes in season 2. I go, come on, this is a network TV show. Why am I seeing so much socks? I mean, it's like, was there a flood happening? I mean, I know it happens in Matt's backyard with all the dead bodies, but
we
is there
never flooded back there?
allegedly? So, no, I'm just saying if you watch the Brady Bunch, it's like, okay, why is Bobby's pants look like shorts? Anyway. And one scene, they're mowing the backyard. Marsha.
Oh yeah, that makes no sense.
And it's turf.
Yeah, it's clearly turf.
And she's mowing it. I'm like going, all right, this is not even believable, guys. Come on. Can we just get some grass out here? And I know that means something else to Chris, but you're on mute, Chris. You're on mute.
I was just thinking, where does the closet like Brady Bunch aficionado go for like to have like discussions about the Brady Bunch? It's right here. It's right here. The Ramblecast.
That was on when I was a kid. It was a big. It was a big deal. Along with the Partridge Family. You kids just don't know. You don't know.
We know.
And the monkeys.
Yeah, the monkeys.
What's crazy to me is like when you don't realize it about time when you're in it. You think like, oh my God, Cheers is the greatest show ever made, or whatever, or something like that. And then, but now I really see that like that clear divide somewhere around the year 2000, like everything before 2000 and everything after 2000 of like how sitcoms and how TV just really just completely changed.
Well, from the 60s to 70s.
Yeah.
You had Green Acres, Bewitched, Genie, and then it went to All in the Family and Mom.
You call me a bewitch?
You're Bewitched. I always liked Elizabeth Montgomery. Just saying, I might have had a small crush.
Yeah, no, I
know we've talked about this before though. It's things like Friends, which was a phenomenon at the time. I don't even think would be successful today. It's just like it is what it was, and I'm not knocking it, but I just don't think if it debuted today, no one would even pay attention to it.
They'd have to spice it up. I mean, it'd have to be a different edge to it, because back then it was a little edgier.
Joey's making meth and he's on the run from the cops.
No, it'd be who'd you say was on meth?
Joey.
No, it'd be Chandler.
Oh yeah,
Chandler. That's how he literally was on cocaine.
Explain weight loss.
Yeah.
Something
you look how skinny he is in like seasons like 1 through 4 or 5, and how fat he got because he got off cocaine.
Good God! All that weight. What's with the haircut? You can't have.
I think that is the one thing about the sitcom that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia does wonderfully is it takes these archetypes and it just crushes them up. It just and you can see that from the first season on. It's just like, whatever trope or whatever thing, they're going to blow it up and well, hell, they try to buy crack in one of the early ones.
That's
a very famous one.
Well,
it's the $1 Million Baby one. I love that one.
The $1 Million Baby one, yes.
D and
she gets strung out on like bodybuilding, like
amphetamines on something. They're all just, I will mess you up.
and evenally, like the girl she's fighting. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but it's it's called $1 Million Baby for a reason. So, yeah.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, I love just all the insults they throw at each. I mean, it's just kind of like what we do every week. It's just how mean can we get? It's just like when Mac is in the bathroom and the ostrich comes in. It's just, he's like, D, will you shut the hell up? It's just an ostrich. What the hell? Or like Frank being naked inside the couch, and he cuts it out.
Oh yeah.
What the heck? This is insane.
Well, you mentioned $1 Million Baby, and I like the Office episode where they're discussing if she's hot or not. What's her name? What's the actress's name?
Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank. Is she hot or not? And the whole show basically centers on is she hot or not?
I think that's actually a good debate because, Next Karate Kid, she's attractive in it. The one where she plays like the transsexual, like that one, you're kind of like, what happened? Because like they're doing it on purpose, and then like she can be really attractive, and then sometimes you're like, man, like what they do? It's just that's hair and makeup,
But again, it's is she hot or not? I mean, I don't want to get in that conversation now because I don't want to be sexist, but you gotta.
Sure is.
What?
But even the Brady Bunch though is because I know I've talked about Cheers. Could they do a lot of the Cheers jokes now, especially with Rebecca? I don't think you could do that way because it's literally she's sexually harassed on every episode. But even the Brady Bunch, Mike Brady, he's the typical 60, 70 dad where the women are just stupid. If you listen to him, he says a lot of things. You go, ooh, he couldn't get away with that joke. He couldn't get away with that comment. Women are, anyway, I don't want to get into it, but it's just the way shows were back in the 60s and 70s, but there's no way it'd fly today.
Right.
But, it's funny as you rewatch the Brady Bunch, and I don't know if you guys saw the Brady Bunch movies, and you remember the scene when I just got.
It all comes back to the Brady Bunch, Jack.
It does, because there's a scene where Jan wears the wig, but in the movie she has the giant afro. It's just, you see where they took the scenes, and like the scene where Mike has the stupid, he's the architect and he's always stuck in the 70s with the drawings with his models. Anyway, if you've seen the movies, have you seen the Brady Bunch movies?
I saw one, I think, long time ago.
Oh my God, they're so funny because if you watch the show to the movies, it's hilarious. Whoever did that, great job. But anyway, Matt, you had a comment?
Matt walked away, everybody.
Matt, you have a comment? Matt.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like what's her name? The one that's in the labyrinth. What's her name? Jennifer. Is it Jennifer?
In what show?
She was in the Labyrinth with David Bowie. What's her name? Matt was her. He'd know. Jennifer Connelly. Jennifer Connelly is looked great her entire career.
Yes, absolutely.
But like Hilary Swank's kind of the same way. Is in like she probably started acting also in the late '80s, and I'm never saying like she's like a 10. I mean, not to judge her looks because she is an attractive woman, but like she is just stayed consistent. Like which I think most of us would just wish. If you were a solid 7 when you were 20, and then all of a sudden you're 50 and you're still a 7. I think that's a good goal to achieve, And
so
yeah, and like she's in that show Away now, which is on Netflix, and it's not. I talked about it, I think in our after podcast last week. It's okay. They pull it together at the end, But I was wanting the Martian type show because that's what it's about. It's about a trip to Mars, but it's more about like them and what made them and their families and what they're going through back on Earth. And you're kind of like, I don't want to watch this shit. I want to watch something about going to Mars. But she's still smoking hot. I have no idea how old Hilary Swank is, but she's still good.
I hate the people that get better looking as they get older.
Like George Clooney.
Yeah, well, yeah, fuck him.
Yeah, son of a bitch.
Because Rob Lowe,
John Stamos.
Yeah, John. But Chad Lowe was married to Hilary Swank, Rob Lowe's brother.
Okay,
just throwing it out there. Chad Lowe was married to. There you go.
Not a big plan.
Oh, Matt's back. We were
Yeah,
asking for you. People were asking for you, Matt. You left.
I'm sure.
Were people asking for Matt?
I couldn't think of Jennifer Connelly's name, and I needed you. I needed the producer to be here to tell me what the name was.
The producer said, "No, I got to go take a piss, so I'm out of here."
Yeah.
Don't spoil it for people. Let them guess. Let them wonder. Like
they know they know you got a small bladder, so they said, "Fuck it." You were doing this dance.
He's been back for like 1 minute. You're already hurting his
He was doing the pee dance. Then
We had more Brady Bunch talk in your absence.
Oh, great!
It all came back to it. Yeah.
Well, you've seen the movies, right, Matt?
The movies, the Brady Bunch movies. No, I don't. I maybe the first one, but I didn't. It was the late '90s. I was too busy.
Busy what?
I forget. I want to say I watched like the reunion movie.
Digging up dead people.
I don't remember. It's been too long.
I'm not that morbid. Jeez.
You should be. Well, that's right. You're out.
But I'm the only one who's actually dug up a body. It's not fun.
Well, so then you should be in charge of this. We'll have Chris do the voiceover. I think that'd be perfect, right?
Yeah, I've always had a face for radio.
Matt's fucking out. We're just going to use your house as for breaks and stuff.
I figured I would just.
We'll bring our trays that Chris got.
Craft services actually gets set up in Matt's kitchen. Nope, in the attic. In the attic.
No, not our attic. We just got it done, so we're living up there now.
Yeah, well, it's a shame.
I was reading an interview with Alan Rickman a few days ago, and he was talking about that. It's like there was like a serious interview, and they're like, if you could really in the movie industry be anybody, director, producer, writer, actor, what would you be? And he said, craft services. And they're like, why? He's like, because then I could just eat all day and give a shit. It's like, brilliant answer. I really miss Alan Rickman. Yeah.
Oh, Matt sent us a message saying bathroom break. I just read the message.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm glad that you
bathroom break.
I just was trying to be a little bit more discreet about it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I not supposed to read that out loud? Oh, private chat. Got it now.
Yeah, that's the private chat.
Took me a minute.
I was trying to keep it private. So,
well, you know what? Edit it out. You're the producer.
I've
It never happened. It never happened.
What editing?
Do the Scooby-Doo ending.
I've got nothing else. I mean, I got to talk Star Wars, and I talked about the indie.
I'm still just happy that it wasn't just me with 11/22/63. That was also Jack and Chris that had a massive crush on that girl, because it's like
I think everybody did. And
she was very sweet. And,
I didn't think you'd seen it, Matt. Okay.
I've watched it. I was mentioning earlier when Jack was talking about how he watched it live. I waited until it was done so I could
watch it live. It was.
Well, the cool thing was there was a version of that girl that was closer to Jack's age, and there was a version of her that was closer to ours. So it works out perfectly.
Yeah,
I was happy. It's okay. It's like a league of their own, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just like a league of their own. There's a Madonna that is younger, and then
just skip Madonna. No Madonna.
I think there are people out there who haven't seen your boobs.
Yeah. They're making a TV show, League of Their Own.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
I don't know why, but they're making a TV
Yeah, it's one of those things that I can't. Yeah, whereas that's such a great movie, I can't see them having the success of the show. But you never know. I mean, it just depends on who writes it.
I would think it's going to be more serious. I would think it had to be more serious, and because League of Their Own had a lot of comedy in it.
Yeah.
Obviously. She's crying, sir.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I didn't realize until a few years ago, because I don't know where any of those cities were growing up, that it's all roughly around Chicago, like that whole league was. And you're like, oh, they didn't have to go. When I'm on the bus, I'm thinking they're actually traveling far. I'm like, oh, they're just going from there to there. I was like, it's not that.
Well, the scene where she has that big bruise from sliding.
Oh my God, that strawberry, yeah.
That was real.
Wow.
She really did have that. That's why they kept it in there, because that wasn't makeup. That was real.
Yeah, that hurt.
Can you imagine sliding in? Well, I used to slide in shorts.
Well, I can't imagine how badly that thing hurt when it scabbed over. I didn't know that was real. Like, oh my God.
Well, imagine when it scabs over there and you're sleeping in your sheets and your sheets are sticking to your
yeah.
Still got the pus there. I used to have it when I used to play baseball and softball. I would have just sliding and stuff like that. You'd have just cuts and bruises all over you. And then you get up the sheets, you're like, oh my God, the sheets are sticking to me. I'll wash them in a week. It's cool.
Yeah. Just speaking of that kind of stuff, like I rarely post anything.
Talk about that or the Brady Bunch.
Well, I rarely post anything on Facebook anymore.
You don't get raspberries on AstroTurf.
No.
No, you can.
Sorry, I'm not. I won't bring it back to the Brady Bunch any more than that.
But I like. I don't know if you guys. I like being the fly on the wall on pointless Facebook arguments that don't matter at all.
I'm sorry, I just removed Jack for no reason whatsoever. It's hilarious. So there, better.
But I was watching. It was a clip of I think a AAA team or something where a guy was rounding third, and the catcher is clearly on the line, on the runner's line, and the ball's not in. He doesn't have the ball caught. It's not even being thrown to the catcher yet, and the guy just completely runs completely over the catcher, and then gets the plate. And there's a run, and just watching the argument back and forth of people, saying that he was out. It's like, no, he's safe. He was like, don't be on the tracks if the train's coming through and all that. I'm just like, and all I'm thinking is like, I miss it when you could do that. Because to me, it's like,
I definitely did it.
I did it once to the third baseman. My coach started yelling at me. I'm like, he was blocking the bag.
Blocking the line, yeah. If he's on, to me, if you're on the line or blocking the bag, then you're fair game.
And next time up, they purposely hit me with the pitch. I go, that's all you got? Ran down to first base.
I'm like, hit me all you want. I'll get on base every time.
I don't care.
One of my favorite stories of my dad actually has to do with this too. So he was my baseball coach when I was a kid one year, and he was on third. He's a third base coach. And the catcher on the other team was this big catcher for the league. He was a bigger kid, and he would forcefully tag people, like intentionally, like just try to like whack you with his glove. And we had this one, like the one scrawny kid that every little league baseball team had. That one little pipsqueak kid. It was Jack in this case. The kid tagged him and fucking tossed him him across the batter's box area. And I was rounding, and I ended up rounding second, ended up on third. And my dad's looking at me. He's like, "You staph infection." He goes, "If you're get hit home or whatever, you just need to clear him out just completely." This is my dad telling me this. So I'm like, "Okay, Dad. Okay, Coach." And sure enough, I came around. I was the big kid on my team, and I just leveled this dude because he was in the base path, and I got called out. So.
Even back then?
Argue that.
Yeah.
Even back then?
Yeah.
I told y'all this story, didn't I? So when I was a junior in high school, every now and then when you'd have freshman games that were just strictly usually for freshman players, you'd have some coaches who they would tell the opposite team, like, hey, we've got a couple of guys that are older than freshmen to come play, so you're allowed to have, the equal amount of, upper high school people playing on that freshman game. And so they had 2 juniors, and so they got me and another guy to come play on our team in this freshman game. And of course, the vast difference between a freshman and then a sophomore, junior, or senior is just so vast. And this team had one good player, and it was a wide receiver. And they put me out on a corner position on defense against this guy, and I couldn't run at all. I was never fast. So what I did was, I was so much bigger than him, is that whenever the ball was snapped, I would just pop him on top of the helmet, and he would just crumble onto the ground. And like, people were like, "Oh my God, you can't do that!" But I didn't hear no whistle. I didn't hear no flag.
It's legal. It's legal until they call it.
Until they call it, yeah. And I just kept hitting the kid on top of the helmet because I didn't want to chase him downfield. So I just would hit him on the helmet, and he would just fall on the ground. And
that's maybe what Ryan Gosling should have done in the Titans. Remember the Titans,
right? But that kid didn't, because like, he was so scared of me every time he'd come to the line. Like, after the first quarter, it was like he didn't score the entire game.
I would have taken your knee out.
Well, I mean,
that would be a chop block for sure.
Just went right down with my forearm and taking your knee out, you'd be done for the year. Keep hitting me in the head, I'm going to retaliate.
he wasn't that smart yet. He's just a freshman.
Well, not smart. That you have to pounding him in the head, give him. He's probably got concussion syndrome, whatever it is, CTE or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Way to go, Nick. Way to ruin that guy's life because you couldn't run fast.
I can't run fast. Hey, I got to do what works for me.
And you guys give me shit because my friend next to me started a fight with an old man.
Well, Nick's right up there.
Why are you changing the story? your friend doing it. Yeah.
My friend who looked like me.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I'm actually starting a documentary about people that start fights. Yeah.
Stop trying to fucking one up the awesome documentary that's in the works right now. The Patreon project itself.
Ours is Emmy Award. It's already won the award.
Oh, yeah.
It's already won the award because the idea is so good.
It's so good.
But not any help from Matt.
We can even add, like, maybe there's some gold buried with it, or who knows,
Well, they probably had gold in their teeth, right?
Exactly.
There's more likely like poison or like dumping like going on. And
they're definitely poisoned. There's no way they died of tuberculosis.
No. I just mean in general.
No, in general, I'm telling you, that's what happened.
You seem really against this documentary being made, and I'm starting to get a little bit worried.
These murders might be a little bit fresher than we.
Is there something that we might uncover?
No,
I didn't think about that. Did you? There's DNA now, Matt.
Dude, this is season 2.
So we're just
the killer is the end of season 1, and we're ready to announce the killer. The killer is. Wait till season 2. And you got Matt over in the corner like this going.
he's the Princess Leia of that teaser.
Matt's dressed in a slave outfit the next.
No, that's Tim.
Yeah, that's Tim. Don't ever put me in a slave outfit. It's, by the way, more appropriate. It's Hut Slayer. Yeah. So she slays the hut.
It just makes me think now, like, just because you bring up
she's
Tim.
Empowered.
That was what, 2010 when Tim did that. I just you imagine his wife, like, because he's probably 40 something now. He's probably gained a few pounds, like all of us have. And I can see his wife going, "I want slave Leia Tim sexy, not like this 40-year-old sexy."
Actually, I was there and saw it. There was never Tim Leia sexy.
That's what I'm saying. So he went downhill from there.
I know he's not on the show anymore, but. I think it's safe, and he doesn't follow. He unfollowed me on all social networks, so I can say, there was never Tim as sexy.
It was fucking terrible.
Children were running in fear when they saw that. They were just like, "Oh my God, I can't unsee this."
What makes the photo, though, is not only is it disturbing just to look at it him by himself, it's the fact that you have John from Kentucky with this weird wrist, kind of like, I don't want to look, but I'm taking the photo, and then you have Colleen also going like, "Oh my God!" Like, what am I witnessing?
We have Damon Lindelof season.
Oh, yeah. Dude, we lost any and all contact with David Lindelof that day.
Because I said, "You're gonna want to see this."
And someone dragged him over, and I was like,
"I was wrong.
What the fuck am I doing here?"
I was wrong.
Yeah.
But Matt doesn't want to do. So what is it, Matt? Do you know
This
more
was
about?
this was a great show, guys. This was
No,
1 in a million.
Now he's trying to rush us off. Does he know more about these killings?
Play us off. The Emmys.
No, I don't know. I just don't want anything happening.
Maybe you went to some time warp.
I shared this story just out of faith and confidence that you guys
Forget
would.
about Matt.
Yeah. Well, when was the last time that
Shared a
worked for you,
story
Matt?
on faith on a podcast.
No, I think that maybe because we were talking about 1023
Future podcasters never podcast with these assholes.
Maybe Matt went to some time warp, 63, I mean, and he killed those people.
Maybe he killed them in the present and then buried them in the past. But there still might be DNA. He didn't realize the DNA evidence can still be usable today.
All right.
Yeah.
And, murder, there's no statute of limitations. You can be
I
charged.
mean, maybe Matt is the James Franco of this episode.
I think he is. So
The only thing I've ever experienced beyond like
He's
those.
just waiting.
is Matt James Franco?
What? No. No. I'm. No.
I think it's a great.
Except he went back in time like
The guy from
5 years before whatever event Matt has to stop, and he has to weather all these years of
Right.
podcasting with us.
And now you're
killing him slowly on the
since
As
he was
James
drunk last
Franco, I
week.
wake up in the mirror and I'm like, dear God, what happened to my good looks?
That was actually one of the things I had no idea what the show was about when I started watching it, but that was one of the weirdest things. Like when you see him,
It has the date.
Christian, you see Chris, the guy that runs the diner. He's there, and then all of a sudden he comes back, and you're like, "Damn, he looks like shit! Like what happened?" And then then it been gone for two
So
and a half.
you're saying Matt looks like shit because he doesn't look. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know where this conversation is going, frankly. And you guys just.
Are you in your attic? No.
No, well,
No,
this is actually a picture of the attic, what it looked like when we first moved in.
Oh,
I wonder. Time out here.
Yeah.
I wonder if just building the room was kind of, if you just look behind you, got the slats there, right?
Mhm.
You could easily put some bodies there and then put a floor over it.
No, I've been all.
I'm just saying. I mean,
in the house though, the stench. I mean,
Yeah, no,
well, you can put them in a couple bags or something like that, right?
I will tell you
Right.
I will tell you the one thing that I remember experiencing in this attic as I was working on it very early on was I was listening to this game because I was like really into watching football and following, it was playoffs, and I'm up there working, like taking out old insulation and I'm putting in new insulation. And there was this game where the Chargers were playing against the Patriots, and I didn't want the Chargers to win, and the Patriots beat them, which meant
what are the odds of the Chargers winning?
I was
You
at that
didn't,
game.
you didn't want. You started building that in 2007.
yeah, I started working on it. I didn't
You
build
weren't
it.
at that game, Chris. The game in San
Oh.
Diego.
Is it the one in San Diego? That was
The one in San Diego. Fuck off.
yeah. Was it 2007?
It was the 2006 season, but 2007 was January 14th, 2007.
No, it's a different game.
There's a great video from a Charger fan sitting up top of the stands when McCree intercepts that ball, which should have sealed the deal, and everyone's yeah. Someone goes fumble. That's San Diego. That's life as a
That was James Franco.
yeah. Maybe it was,
He succeeded.
maybe it was,
I was in the attic. I was in the attic
the Colts
all
did
day.
not beat the Chargers. That was because the Chargers own the Colts.
Yeah, I know. I would rather see them play against the Patriots. That year was the year my daughter was born, and so we were going
Did you just leave her in the haunted house by herself?
no, she wasn't born yet at that point.
Oh,
So
okay.
we were going to like the kind of the birthing class and all through the playoffs there, and then my wife planned to have the baby shower. She didn't follow football, but it just happened to be on like the Super Bowl Sunday. So
Oof.
yeah.
Cindy and I almost got thrown out of our Lamaze class, whatever it's called. They didn't like the jokes.
Oh. I think people hated us because my wife and I were like, ooh, I know the answer to that one.
I know there was one lady everyone hated because she actually had the baby. She was in the class,
Oh.
had the baby. But if you looked at her, you go, is she even pregnant?
Right.
Mm.
She was like one of those people just thin and just had, and all the other mothers were like going, hate that lady. Hate that lady. Then she came and had the baby, and they're like going, Christ, she was more pregnant than I was. They hated even.
It's like, I think that's like towards the end of Friends. There's an episode that where Rachel's in the birthing room, and like there's a little woman, and she's like, I feel a contraction, honey. She's like, it's a big one. She's like, oh, that's it. And Rachel's over going like, ah!
Good times.
I don't know, like Jack. I don't know if it was even allowed back then, but like, was Matt and Chris in the room when your children were born? Was Jack?
Yeah.
Where you were?
C-sections. I was there for C-sections.
I can't remember which leg. I was one of the legs.
I'm just curious, like, if you wanted to be there, and if you didn't want to be there, what would your wife said if in that moment if you'd have been like, babe, can I just wait out in the lobby?
Oh, that's ugly.
She'd fucking kill me.
I mean, I don't even think that was like, I don't know. That wasn't really, that wasn't even a thought. My thought was with my daughter, my wife was in labor for a very, very long time, like 30 some hours worth of labor. And at some point, I had to go home and feed the dogs. We hadn't told anybody. We didn't want anybody to know because we really didn't want anybody at the hospital. So it's late at night. It's about like 11:30, and I'm like, I need to go home and feed the dogs. And it's about a 15-minute drive. So I drive home. I'm racing home to feed the dogs. Get home, and of course, as soon as I get home, I get the text like, or maybe she calls me, but she's like, come back soon. Like they say that it's going to be, and I'm like, I just got home. Like, and I'm like just hurrying up, feeding the dogs and racing back because I'm like, I have been with you for 30 hours. I am not going to miss the moment that my daughter is born at this point. Like it's like being the Chargers and going all the way to the Super Bowl, but then yoink, like it doesn't happen, and you don't get to see what it's like.
Well, you know what? I would let the dog starve because.
Now, what if it had been like your lunch break and you would have been out there with like your stellar like lunch tray at the steering wheel, and like the wife calls, and you're like, I'm having my lunch right now. Okay, I'm in my in my car. I got my sandwich, my apple.
You're killing my fucking vibe right now.
Yeah, right now. I just had a gummy.
I'm watching.
You really harsh my mellow, man. I don't need to.
I was there for C-sections, and the first C-section, I didn't really know what to expect, and I get in there because they bring in a certain. She's already been cut open basically, but they still have. The laser is cutting the skin, and then the phone rings. They go, "Hey, we're not taking any calls." And then I have it on. I'm videotaping it.
Right.
They have like some suction thing, and it slips, and one doctor punches the other doctor in the face.
Oh wow!
Goes, bam! And and my wife looks at me. I go, I know they're laughing. It must happen all the time because I can't really see what's going on. And but the last child, I knew was going to be a
hoot.
I knew what I was going to see.
Oh,
that freaked me out.
Yeah.
I think that because C-sections are so common these days because it gets the hospital money and they don't want to take the risks and all these things like that. Mm-hmm. I think natural birth I could probably be okay in the room with, but the C-section that I would flip my shit. Like I know they put the curtain up and all that, but it's just the idea.
Don't worry, you'll see shit.
I know that. Yeah, but like it's just here's the woman you love, and half of her body is out of her body. I mean, that would just kill me. I think. I mean, I don't think I could handle it. Like emotionally, I would just.
That's what I said. The third time was. Not good.
Well, on that note,
I was trying to make it funny, but then we brought it back to down again. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Full circle, man.
Matt's trying to kill us again. What the hell?
I blame Matt.
Episode talking about death, and
my child's about to be born. I got to feed the dogs.
Yeah.
No.
How did you get out of the hospital room?
How did I get out of the hospital room? It wasn't like it was
No, but I'm saying your wife just said, "Okay, go feed the dogs."
No, she like we talked about it. Like this was like, you know.
Before you leave, give me some ice chips. Now you can go feed the dogs.
Well, so at that point, like because she had gone natural, like she held out for the longest time until she got the epidural, and because she was stuck at 9, and so she just couldn't get past that last part, and so it was a rough go there at the end. And then when she did get the epidural, I was there for that. She relaxed enough that she like slept, and then that relaxed her. So then she, was up again. And that's when she was just like, you need to come back. Like, and I was like, I just got home. And so I was rushing back. So with our second, she had labored at home for a very, very long time, got to the hospital and basically was like, all right, I'm ready for the epidural. I'm done. I'm done with this. Like, she was just like, and they were like, no, sweetie, you are too far along. This is happening now. And so she was like, so it was kind of
called her sweetie.
I don't know, but it
was
like, don't, I say things that
I'm not saying you said sweetie. I'm saying they said sweetie.
I think so. I think there was a sweetie involved.
I would have said you're sexist. Give me another doctor.
All right. So bringing it full circle, begin with
Am I wrong?
I'm just trying to end the show.
Well, you can end the show all you want, but
no.
When you had the when you had your son, did you tell the ghost, "Hey, can you feed the dogs? This could be a while."
No, because it was in the morning.
Okay.
Left, and it was very, very. It happened very quickly.
They're saying, "No, Matt, you killed us. We're not feeding any dogs."
All right, so tonight was really great, and I know Chris has some things to get to, and he's been dying to leave us for the last 40 minutes. So let's wrap this up here.
Well, he wants that Netflix.
I don't think he said shit.
I believe before the podcast, I knew. I can sense things. It's like we're force sensitive.
I do have daddy duty in the morning.
Like a pull, the heart pull. Anyway,
we got grandpa duty.
If you enjoy this podcast, as
he said duty,
I'm sure you are, you can write to the other guys and tell them to.
It's a baby Ruth.
So at rcadcast@gmail.com, just send them all of the emails that just say STFU. So anyway, if you want to get one of those TV tray tables for your car, like we discussed it a couple times,
pretty cool.
Really great idea.
You want to be that lonely guy sitting there eating, crying, and this.
It's fucking great.
I like what Miami Mike said though. Matt had to go home to clean the gutters.
Nope, not enough time to clean the gutters. All right. If you enjoy this show, and why not? You're enjoying it live. Thank you so much for everybody that does join us live. It's always good to see.
Sherry just dropped you there.
Yeah, he did.
You beat the punch there. Great, thank you.
It's gonna be cleaning the gutters in a slave Leia costume up in a ladder. That'd be cool. Like all bent over.
None of that is right. And please don't.
What clean the gutters mean?
Huh? All right. So tonight's show was made possible by a grant by viewers like you. Become a patron. Go over to janejack.com. Click on the patron link. Help us out in any way that you can. We do appreciate it. Patrons at a certain level get our bonus show when we do those. And last week's was huge, monumental.
It was longer than the regular show.
It was.
Not the same, yeah.
It felt like it for sure. This week's graphics featured a Talking Heads image. And so all of the patron names tonight are Talking Head themed. So these are all the lyrics from songs by the Tacking Heads. So don't touch him. He's a real live wire. Eckhart Killer. Richter's Sane. Huh? Yeah.
Not so bad.
This is not my beautiful letter carrier. And you may ask yourself, well, how did Ed get here? Might be my favorite one. I should have left that for the end. But this ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This ain't no Maggie around.
Shouldn't it be how did my letter get here? Or, never mind. Good.
You know what? You stick to your song. I used to be this part of the show. Thank you very much.
You put a little switch. So I got a little switch on it. How did my email get here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was stuck with letter.
Everybody's a critic here. Okay. Home is where I want to be. I come home. Joanne lifted up her wings. I guess that this must be the place.
Okay.
My all-time favorite songs.
Just stay with that, but that's okay.
Greg is taking a hiatus actually from the Tacking Heads and formed a side band called the Modern Gregors. So there's
You're sliding fast, but
no, lovers. That's all. That's okay. Anyway,
It was good. It was good, but not as good as last week.
I'm not done. Hey, you guys are cutting me off here. Special.
Great show, kids. 1 in a million.
What you gonna do when you get off the cast? I'm good.
Just gonna remove all those assholes so I can say the last thing. Special thanks to Put Away the Ethan. This part is simple. Try to recognize what is in your mind. Thank you, Ethan, for helping us out. And that little thing was for you from Slippery People, which I know you and I both love. So I'll bring the other guys back because they just like to interrupt me. This was a really great show. It was 1 in a million. So
1 in a million.
Right where you are standing.